Are we not entertained? Is that not why you are here? Famous movie quote. Yes, you saw some video clips there. Every new drone on the market, video drone, has some issues with their cameras. This is no exception. It's got jitter problems. It's got over-sharpening problems. It's got tilt horizon problems. It's what I call watercoloring. Yeah, okay. I'm sure in a few updates that'll be made better, okay? This is going to be my first impressions of opening the box of the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro and comparing it to all the other sub-250 drones currently on the market, okay? Now, this is purportedly the very first to have obstacle avoidance under 250 grams. Well, didn't your mother ever tell you, watch where you're going? So another famous movie quote comes to mind. Is it going to be, are you kidding me? Wow. Or is it going to be, are you effing kidding me? Let's get into the details, start to finish, and explore the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. Let's go. Okay, so let's get into it. The Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. Yep, you've seen all the videos. You know pretty well what it's about. From one point of view, maybe 2 points of view. Everybody has a different opinion. Everybody's here to entertain. Everybody's here to give you what they think is accurate information, okay? But what is accurate information? Everything I've seen about the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro so far is, ooh, look at that. Look at that video. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, it's easy, it's simple. You do this, that, and the other, da, da, da. Okay. Here's plain, honest, truthful facts. Don't buy it. You are a test crash dummy. You've just forked over $499 of your hard-earned money. Now you have one of the steepest learning curves you've ever imagined, unless you are a nerd or a geek and you love to delve into the guts of a computer to find out how it works. So let's get into this. I'm not here to pick this thing apart bit by bit, how it's put together, how it's built, how the cables that get you micro USB connectors in this day and age, seriously? They're so tightly fit, I couldn't even fit them into these things. I use my own. Cables, don't use them. The cables they provide you for these give you constant disconnects. It's just sitting there. Disconnect, USB disconnect. Oh, connect, disconnect, connect. I'm not into that. I'm not even going to mention the fact that when you open this controller like this, you can actually see the wire of the antenna. Okay, every time you move it, that wire's going somewhere. I'm not going to mention that. I'm not going to mention the fact that under here, you can see the exposed wire of the antenna. It's just a piece of paper foam. I'm not here to say that this is not a heat shield. This is a, pardon me, it is a heat shield. This is not a heat sink, it's a heat shield. This thing, if it's sitting doing an update, gets blisteringly hot. I don't care if you say it's not overheating, it's blisteringly hot. Don't touch it, okay? I'm not here to say that this gimbal cover sucks. It took me a minute once to get it on, okay? It's got a hinge on it. Even now, it's not on straight. I don't know if you can see that. It's not, I don't know. Sometimes it fits better than others. $500 for this, okay? I love the controller. Once you get everything working, it flies great. It flies a lot better than the Fimi. The range is exceptional. It's beautiful. The camera is horrible. The obstacle avoidance, oh, you have to do a vision calibration. My God, you've got to jump through hoops to get that thing to work. You don't even have this, you have to go download specific tool software to even to get it to work. And it depends on how you plug it in, what sequence you do. Do I turn this on first? Do I run the app first? Do I do this? And I tried every which way but loose, and I finally got it to work, but not the way the tutorial tells you, okay? So you've got everything, you charge everything up. Oh, not even to mention the fact that this is such a cheap piece of crap. Don't put it on the battery wrong, or you'll bend all these things, okay? And the controller has that antiquated 5-pin slot here that was on the original Zino. What, are we expecting a hardware update or a reconfiguration of the complete system? Mind-blowing. But anyway, I digress. So let's get through all this in one shot, get it out in the open. As I said, you've seen all the other things, but they've missed out on all this stuff. As a consumer, as I said, you are the alpha tester. There was no testing done of this thing, okay? I'd say maybe a couple of people that didn't communicate to somebody else, who didn't communicate to somebody else, and the marketing team had no idea what they were talking about, okay? So you get all this, it's all powered up, you finally figure out how to charge the batteries, and you plug it in, and the sequence, you have to be the right sequence, put it together, and you get the screen that says, you have an update. Okay, you have an update. You update the transmitter, and you play the Jeopardy song for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then it finally updates. Then you connect to the drone, and it says, you have an update. Well, it doesn't update. You have to unplug this, plug it into that. That doesn't work. You have to do the right sequence. And again, you have to have this shield on. It gets blisteringly hot. If it's not touched and it's on for 10 minutes, it beeps, you got to shut it off. If this is on for 10 minutes, you don't touch it, it beeps, you move it, it resets again. But 10 minutes of immobility on this, you can't touch that bottom. It's so hot. When it's flying, not so bad, okay? You're doing a vision calibration. Once you figure out what you have to download and what you have to do and how you get it to work, you better be quick and you better have a steady hand, and you go around twice, because this thing will get so hot, even if you're holding it here, it's almost impossible to hold, okay? I've done it, okay? Just saying, I've done it, okay? But that's not the end of it. It only takes video in H.265, which means predominantly you have to have Windows 10. Okay? If you don't have Windows 10, you got Windows 7 or whatever, you're SOL. Okay? Even with Windows 10, you should be doing their whole protocol about this RNDIS or RSDN, whatever it is, protocol, blah, 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 adapter. And then you have to get into the guts of the computer and do your device manager and all this stuff about IP addresses and get it all to work, and so you can see the files, jump through a million hoops, whatever. It's archaic, okay, archaic. Once you do all that, then you can see the files. You plug it in, you turn it on, you're all connected, you see the files, you download the files. They won't play because they're H.265 in a protocol codec that's not recognized on Windows 7. So you have to download a whole codec kit. I recommend K-Lite codec kit standard. Anyway, so you get it and it works. It's in Windows 7, it doesn't work that good. Windows 10, it works okay. Okay. So you download your videos. So far, you've had to pretty well know the ins and outs of your operating system, Windows operating system, to get anything out of this. That's just wrong. That's just dead wrong. And nobody mentions that on any of the reviews, the hoops you have to go through to get this thing to work. Okay? Now, if you've bought a computer in the last year and everything's up to date, and you've got a 4K monitor and you're doing this, that, and the other, hey, great, no problem at all, okay? You're probably good to go. Plug it in, you'll see the files, you download them, you can do all that kind of stuff. Majority of us aren't so lucky. The hoops you have to jump through is ridiculous. Again, having to unplug one thing, plug in another, micro USB, doing this, that, and the other. The plugs don't even fit into a phone with a case. Okay, you have to cut them down again, like I have in many, many others. You have to cut the edges off so it'll fit in. Okay? Frustrated, headaches, headaches, headaches. Okay? Then, on top of that, you're paying $500 US for this because it's got obstacle avoidance. As I said earlier, didn't your mother ever tell you, watch where you're going? If you're flying visual line of sight, what use is obstacle avoidance? I think it's, and I believe this, the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro is a test subject. It's a test project for something further down the road. There's so much old tech in this, they're trying out a few things to see if it flies, and then they're going to come up with a new product. Okay? The way this is, it cannot be, in this day and age, a modern video drone. Just can't be. You've got to jump through too many hoops. Too many hoops. So, what do I think? Well, I'm going to do a quick pause here, and I'm going to come back with final thoughts. So, if you haven't guessed it already, final thoughts, stay away from it, okay? It's just not worth the headaches. If people have problems getting the Fimi X8 Mini up in the air from the box, what do you think they're going to have with this thing? Okay? It's meant for testing. We are the alpha testers. We are adventure capitalists, if you will. We are the fundraisers for Hubsan. Okay? Nobody mentions any of this in any of the reviews. Okay? They gloss over it. They say, oh, it's not a problem. Not a problem. It took me almost a day to figure out sequencing, cables, what worked, what didn't, what order to put them in. And then having to download extra software, extra programs to get calibrations to work, to get this to work. Half the stuff in the app for the camera and the video aren't implemented, which goes to prove nothing's been tested. It should never have been released. We are the alpha testers. But you have to look at all sides of the fence on this one. You can't just go by someone that reviews a product and says, ooh, look at me fly, and I can alter and edit this movie to make it look really good. What's the point in that? Okay? In some of the reviews of this, I've seen absolutely perfect video, edited perfectly. It's impossible, impossible. The files have been sent back to Fimi. There's nothing wrong with this drone. It's the way the factory's supposed to be. Okay. The video I get from it, as you saw in the beginning, jitter, over sharpen, what I call watercoloring, okay, jello, tilted horizon. I didn't see any of that on any of the review videos I've seen, okay, but it's there. I can't be the only one, okay? So, save your money, don't buy it, and don't fall into the trap of watching and absolutely believing everything you see from other reviewers that are obviously getting paid to say what they say. Here's a note. If you give a good review on a Hubsan, they'll give you $50. And I've got the email to prove that. Give me a good review on the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro and I'll give you $50. What does that say? Okay? I'll leave you with that thought. Are you effing kidding me?